Hello, everybody. I want to talk to you guys today. It's me with my tea because I'm sitting here in all the snow outside, and we're snowed in, and I'm cold, and I need some tea. And so I wanted to come in here and chat with you guys today and tell you a bit of a story and talk to you around money stuff. So we've done some talking around money mindset. We'll do a lot more talking around money mindset. But what I wanted to talk to you guys about today was what your beliefs about money are, right? Because our beliefs about money are the very first place we need to start when we look at making more money, right? Because you can have the best marketing tools in the world, and you can have the best marketing plan, and you can have, the biggest budget for your social media, and you can have the best poster, and you can have all of the great marketing stuff. But if you don't have, if your beliefs about money are getting in your way, if your beliefs about money are not or are erroneous and damaging, then it doesn't matter how much work you do, you're never going to bring more money in, right? So I want to tell you a story about my money beliefs and what they used to be and my experience with changing them and the change that has happened with that. And so growing up, I grew up, we didn't have a lot. I mean, we weren't living in poverty. We always had food, we always had clothes, but it was tight, right? Stuff was tight a lot of the time. And it's amazing how as kids we learn by watching our parents more than hearing or having any conversations about it. Because I never had any conversations with my parents about money or money beliefs or any of that kind of stuff, but just watching them and their struggles and their beliefs around money and how that impacted our life made me internalize a couple of different messages around money. And so there were two main ones that I internalized around money. And the first one was that if you were a person who wanted to make money, right? If making money was important to you for whatever reason, right? To make life more comfortable, to be able to help, to just be able to make money, whatever it was. If you were a person who wanted to make money, then you were a materialistic and shallow person. And wanting to make money made you shitty and materialistic and focused on all of the wrong things in life. So that was the belief that I internalized. And there was something almost noble about not having money or struggling for money, right? That it made the belief that I internalized was that it made you a better person if you struggled financially. Okay, it made you a more worthy person, made you a more noble person. You weren't this shallow, selfish, money grubbing, materialistic person. And I internalized that message without even realizing that I did. It wasn't a conscious thought for my childhood or most of my adult years. And it wasn't really until my early 30s that I started looking at what those beliefs are around money and what this feeling is that I have around money and what do I believe about people with money and what do I believe about myself with money. And so that was the first one, that if you wanted to make money at all, you were a shallow person. Okay, because there are so many more important things in life than money. And there are, right? And materialism is not the same thing as making money, right? They're different. But in my head, they weren't different at the time, right? And so one equaled the other. So that was the first belief that I internalized. And the second belief that I internalized was that, so my parents got divorced when I was quite young. And my mother remarried a man who had a lot of money. And he was an awful human being. And so what I learned and internalized from that was that people who had money were bad people, right? So very, very close to the other belief, right? Very close that if you wanted to make money, it made you a shitty person. And people who did have money were shitty people, right? So it was looking at it from both sides of the coin, if you will, that money was bad, right? And having and wanting money was bad. And if you had money, you were bad. That was, in a nutshell, the message that I internalized. And because that was my belief around money, I stopped myself from ever actually making good money. Now, there were so many different ways that that showed up, and there's so many different ways that our self-worth stuff shows up in money, self-worth stuff shows up in money, and we're going to chat about that on Friday as well, our self-worth around money. So for today, I'm just going to stick with this is part of my money journey, right? And the belief that, and it wasn't a conscious belief, it wasn't something that I had in the front of my mind. It was a subconscious belief that kept me small and kept me working really hard to stay broke. I worked so hard to stay broke. And it was this thing where money would come in, and within a couple days or a couple hours, some big emergency would happen that would mean I would have to spend all of that money that came in. Every freaking time. I would bring in a great new client who, brought a nice big package of training sessions, and my car would break down. Or I would bring in a great new client, or I was doing boarding at the time too. So I would book a boarding client, and, my water heater would go, or whatever it ended up being, right? There was always seemed to be this pattern of anytime money would come in, something would happen to make it go straight out again. And it just kept making that belief true in my head that I was never going to have money and that I shouldn't have money, right? That kept solidifying that belief for me. And it wasn't until maybe 4 years ago that all started shifting. That my money, because I recognized, I got in touch with, this is my actual belief around money. And I did that working with the coach. And some of the exercises that we did in the mindset stuff and the digging in and the homework stuff. And I got to the point where I was like, holy fuck, I got a whole lot of baggage around money. But it was such when you have those experiences of something changes so drastically in your head that you physically feel it in your body, it's like a shift happens. And that's what happened with me around money stuff, is I actually felt that shift happen, and I went, oh, money isn't bad. Money isn't good or bad. Money is just money. And I sat down and I looked at, like, what do I want to do in the world? Like, what's important to me in the world? And you might have heard me talk about this before, but I genuinely, at the core of my being, believe that we are here to make the world a better place, right? We are here to leave a legacy. We are here to help. We are here to change things. We are here to take all of the things that are so fucked and broken right now and find the good, and to leave the world and the people that we interact with better than when we first came across them. And so when I started looking at, like, what are the kind of things that I want to be able to do in the world? And all of those things were easier to do, and I could have a larger impact if I had money, right? And that's where I realized that I had this third belief around money that kind of tied in with it. There's something noble about struggling with money. That because I didn't like the imbalance that's out there in the world with capitalism the way that it is, and with 1% of the population making so much of the world's wealth, and so much of the world's population living in poverty and starving and not having a roof over their head, and having grown up seeing that, it really solidified that belief about money for me. And so there was something in my belief system as well that told me that struggling and me not having money was somehow like fighting the system, right? Because I refused to be a part of the capitalist system, because I didn't want to be a part of that. I didn't want to be a part of the imbalance of it. But what I realized is that me not making any money doesn't help anybody else. Me working really hard to stay broke doesn't help anybody. And it doesn't change the system at all. It has no impact on the system whatsoever. The thing that has an impact on the system is me using the system that's already in place so that I can make the world a better place. Right? That was what I had that shift for, of that, okay, I cannot dismantle capitalism on my own, right? I can't do that. I cannot change the imbalance that is out there. I cannot make people who have billions of dollars more generous. I cannot make people who have absolutely nothing have anything. unless I have access to money. Because if I have access to money, I can give money. I can donate to the charities that I want to. I can take time. I can provide a space in my program for people who are struggling financially. I can donate, like the wildfires that are going on in Australia right now. For the, I sat and was looking at that and found three or four different organizations that I wanted to donate to contribute to that. And I could do that without a second thought about it. And I donated a significant to me amount without even thinking about it because I was able to, because I worked through my money stuff, right? And 5 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to do that. Every penny that I had 5 years ago, I was desperately holding on to because I wasn't making enough, but B, when you're not making enough money, there's a scarcity mindset there. And if I donate this, or if I give this, or if I do this, then I don't have enough for this, right? And I realized in my money awakening that if I wanted to help and I really wanted to show up and I wanted to make the difference that I really, really, really want to make in the world, then it would be much easier to do with money, right? And so what the shift for me and the recognition for me is that money is not good or bad. It's just a tool. And how we use it determines whether it's going to be a good or bad thing, right? And allowing myself to be a part of the system and then using the system that's in place and then doing something good with that makes a difference, right? Me showing up and being generous with my money or with my time, me showing up and having that place in my program for a person who is willing to do the work and is ready to lean in and just, sorry, the Piper is walking around my camera stand and so it's shaking. Me showing up and being able to donate a percentage of my money every month to the charities that are important to me, being able to help support ailing parents, as because they didn't get past their money stuff, and so they're in a situation that I really don't want to be in when I get to their age, but it allows me to help them, right? So what is the thing behind making money for you? Like, firstly, what are your money beliefs? Like, how did you grow up with money? Was it something that was just abundantly there all the time? Was there a struggle? Did you ever talk about it with your parents if there was a struggle? Have you ever had that conversation with them about what happened, what their money beliefs were? Because that gets passed down, right? What are your money beliefs? What is the belief that you hold at the core? And the thing about the belief is it can be something that logically is not true, right? But logic and emotions, they don't always connect, right? So what's that belief that you hold at the core of yourself about money? And not self-worth stuff, right? That we're going to get into on Friday. We're going to talk more about that on Friday. But what's the belief that you have formed around money itself and around your ability to make money, or your want to make money, or your want to participate in the system, or any of that kind of stuff? What do you believe about money? Do you believe it's a tool? And that there's an abundance of it and you can access it at any point that you need to, and that having that money is going to allow you to provide the help that you want to the dogs, the animals, the people that you want to be helping? Or do you believe that you're never going to make money and that's just the way that it is, and in order to have the job that you love as a dog trainer, you have to sacrifice making good money? Because that's a really common belief too amongst dog trainers, is that it's this erroneous belief that if we want to do the job that we love and help the people that we want to help and help the animals that we want to help, it means we can't make a lot of money too, because there's just no money to be made in dog training. And that's bullshit. That is such bullshit. So I really want you guys to challenge yourselves on this and write down what are your beliefs around money and post them in the group. Or if you're not comfortable sharing in the group, reach out to me, send me a message, send me an email. Let me know what your beliefs are. And if you're getting this video in email rather than in the group, reach out and join the group. Hit reply to this email. Let me know what your beliefs are, because in order to shift those big beliefs, we need support, right? I wasn't able to look at those big beliefs until I had a support structure in place and a safe place for me. Because I tell you what, when I examined those beliefs and I found out about them, I had a fucking meltdown. It wasn't oh, that's my belief about money. Okay, I'm gonna go change it. It was a complete fucking breakdown and meltdown because there was so much emotion and so much self-worth stuff and so much this feeling of just like, oh my God, I've been doing this for fucking years. And there was just so much stuff tied up in that for me. And there was relief and there was anger and there was frustration and there was helplessness. And there was so much emotion tied up in that for me. And I wouldn't have been able to move through that process and do the work of shifting that belief around if I didn't have the support system in place that I did, which was my coaching, the coach that I was paying at the time, that I was working with at the time, and my therapist. Right? Those two combined, I just wouldn't have been able to do it. And I would still be spinning my wheels and be stuck with my beliefs around money. And so that's the one big area, like money beliefs that keep us stuck. That and our self-worth beliefs around money too. Those two things keep us stuck. And I tell you, when I finally worked through that process and came out the other side and had the meltdown and the breakdown and built myself back up again and got to the point that I needed to be around my view of money and have had a healthier relationship with money, things started changing without me doing very much differently, right? Because my own belief around money, because our beliefs limit what we do or what we believe is possible. So it limits what we try. It limits what we keep doing. It limits how much we lean in. It limits how much we will keep tweaking things until we get that result. It limits so much on such a subconscious level that we often don't even realize that we're doing it. And as soon as I had blown that self-restricting belief out of the water, my money situation started changing and clients just started falling out of nowhere. And, I designed programs the way that I do them now rather than the way that I used to do them. And, I was charging more, and I was also able to show up and give more, right? That's one of the reasons I can do this group, that I can do this kind of stuff for free, because this group takes my time, right? To develop these videos and to develop the modules and stuff that you guys get. That takes a lot of my time in the background, but I'm at a point financially where I can afford to do this because I got my money stuff sorted. To where I needed it to be. And that means that I can show up and I can give, and I can be generous with my time, and I can be generous with the information that I give people, and I can spend the hours doing the videos that needs to be, and I can spend the time building the modules that needs to be, because I so fully believe that needs to be given back, particularly with dog trainers, particularly with female dog trainers. We need this information and that support to shift that mindset, so that we can go out and do the really fucking important work that the world needs us to do, right? Your clients need you to have money stress lifted so that you can show up as your best self and not worrying about money, and that you can show up and you can make a difference, and you can create a place in your program to donate to a shelter every month, or you can create a place to donate to someone who's homeless and needs some help with their dog, or is low income and needs some help with their dog. And you can do that because you're using money as a tool, how it's intended to be used, and you are using the system to make the world a better place, right? So what's your belief around money? I really want to hear that. I want to hear what your belief is. I want to hear where that's at. And I want to help figure out with you how we can shift that so that you can get to the place where you can be doing all of the things that you want to be doing, and helping and showing up and being generous and giving. And my tea's going cold. I'm talking so much and not drinking my tea. So that you can show up like that, right? So post in the comments, or pop me off a message, or post in the group, and really look at what your money beliefs are. And if you're not sure what they are, a good place to start is to look at your family and your upbringing, and what kind of conversations were had around money. Were you ever aware in the house that things were tight, or financially? Was money always abundant? What are your parents, or whoever raised you, what's their view on money now to this day? That's a great place to start. So reach out if you need some help. I would love to have this conversation with you guys. All right. We'll chat soon. Bye.